You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
This podcast is hosted on podhome.fm, the most modern podcast hosting platform. Podhome offers unlimited episodes and podcasts, and unlimited use of Podhome AI, which generates transcripts, clips, chapters, title suggestions, show notes, and much more. And all of that for just $15.99 a month or $185 per year. That's a steal. So go to podhome.fm and start your 30-day trial now. And enjoy the show with Joe.
Live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas, it's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
All righty. Hey, folks, this is Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you once again. Of course, transmitting live from the Asylum and doing the very best that we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. All righty. It is Wednesday evening. A beautiful Wednesday evening. No matter what the weather is outside, it's a beautiful Wednesday evening when we get to have our Wednesdays with Wayne. It's always a lot of fun. Now, last week we had Wayne on and we talked a lot about prepping. The mouth will start working soon, I promise. So we talked a lot about prepping and emergency preparedness. And Wayne, as always, brought a ton of great information for us. And he's going to come back on here tonight momentarily. And he has a very special counterpart with him. And I will let him take care of the announcement for that. But before we get into what Wayne has for us tonight, let's take care of some of the usual housekeeping that we do. Folks, if you would, please make sure you head over to our website, joerooz.com. That's joerooz.com. And when you get over there, look for that little contact section. It's up on the upper right pancake in the website there somewhere. Click that thing, open up the web form, send us off a message. Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, or concerns that you might have. Maybe you have a complaint. I mean, you really shouldn't have any complaints whatsoever, but you might. You can send it to us there, and we will, of course, give it the just attention that it deserves. And then, of course, maybe you have a guest suggestion, someone you'd like to have us try to get on the show, or a particular topic you'd like us to discuss. We'd be happy to see that from you. Make sure you send it on over to us. Now, if you don't want to use the web form, totally understand that. I don't like using web forms either. And it's all because of that stupid little CAPTCHA thing that drives you crazy. The crosswalks and the chairs and the bees and the bats and the buzzards and match all that stuff. Yeah. That's why we have an email address. You can always email us directly at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. Make sure you send it on over to us. Another great idea, great way to reach us is right down there in the comment section. If you're watching on Rumble, which you should be on Rumble, right down there. If you're watching on YouTube, don't know why you're still on YouTube, but if you are, you can leave a comment down there as well. And we'll be sure to get those, and love to see those comments and really do appreciate them. Also, just want to remind you that this is a live show, weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, we have our Sunday show every Sunday afternoon, our Sunday Bible study, every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you check those things out. Also, incredibly important to do is to like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. The reason for that is because everything is based off of algorithm. And unless you're sharing the show, unless you're liking the show or subscribing to the show or following the show or whatever you want to call it, you're not helping the algorithm. So help the algorithm. Set it up. Share it. Look, I know we rub people the wrong way in this show sometimes, and that's okay. That's fine. Share it with people anyway. Piss them off. It's fine. I do it to my sister. I share the show with my sister at least once a week. She blocks me for a couple of days, and then as soon as she releases the block, I do it again because it pisses her off, and that's what we like to do. So let's do that, okay? Make sure you piss off somebody, share the show with them. We would really, really appreciate that. All right, like, subscribe, share. Friends, family, followers. Very, very, very important. All right. With all of that said, let us bring onto the stage our very, very special friends here. We have Wayne Rankin, our very own Dr. Prepper, and a special guest. Hey, guys.
Hi, Joe. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you? I love the subdued tone there, buddy.
Yeah. I've never met a New Yorker in person from New York City that hasn't pissed me off or made pissed them off. I'm from Detroit. New York's just a sissy city.
We forgive you for that.
I've always said New York's just a little brother sissy city compared to Detroit. Oh, big time. I actually, for real, I met some guys from New York.
We can mute him for a few seconds here and not let him speak. Okay, there we go.
I met a couple of guys from New York said, I ain't going to Emma now. It's like that. I ain't going to Detroit. I wouldn't be there, man. And he's like from Harlem or somewhere. So I go, yeah, I know. And I was in a circle of friends, and Rosanna was with me, and it's like a circle. Where are you from? She's from and she'll tell you where she's from. I said, I'm from Detroit. All of them backed up 1 foot. I go, it's okay here. We're all fine here, friends. Okay. So
I think we're all still waiting for you to introduce your partner there, buddy.
Okay, so I'm Wayne, and this is Rosanna. It's Rosanna. Yeah, she. Thing is, what she has a great radio voice and a great TV face. How's that? A lot of us can't do both of those. We can do a radio voice, but we can't do a TV face.
Very true.
She definitely has a TV face, and she's a veteran of doing TV commercial. But tell us about yourself, Rosanna.
Well, I'm your wife, and grew up in Tri-Cities.
I'm just going to sit back.
It's our first podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. Go.
grew up in Tri-Cities, homeschooled my kids, had a job and quit so I could go to school to become a chef. So I went from really nice executive assistant job making good money to nothing. Went to be an executive or a pastry chef and had my own bakery, shut it down. Now I just work at Costco and have fun every other second of the day.
That's good. That's good. Welcome to the show, Ro.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's a lot of Tri-Cities in America. Which Tri-Cities?
Tri-Cities in Washington State.
That would be Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland.
Okay. Not many people outside of Washington State would know that.
Right. So yeah. But actually, those when we first met. In fact, as of Costco, this is a true story. I went in for olives and came out with a wife. And my buddy goes, "You can get those there only at Friday after 6." And so it's a true story. You know, this is an old widow or duffer guy who's been up in the hills up here for a while, and just me and the dog and the chickens. I go, "It's time to go into town and maybe fetch us a bride somewheres." And so, so that's how we met. But her background for real is it's fascinating, and some of the things that we're going to get on tonight. Farm, ranch. This woman, correct me, dear, broke horses. Tell them some more about your horse ranch with your dad back then.
My dad had 30 horses and he broke them, or they broke him.
What does that mean?
Okay, there we go.
That means that they're not used to having any weight on their back. So you have to practice getting them used to touch and weight. And so you can sit on their back and then you can try and ride them. So it's basically the steps to riding.
And that's not a quick process either. That takes time.
Yeah.
You get bucked off a lot. Yeah.
And she knows how to crack a real whip
And
better than any.
Bucked off a lot.
Yeah, bucked off, ladies and gentlemen.
Bucked off.
But she can ride a horse and crack a whip better than Indiana Jones.
Well, that sounds a little personal right there. So let's not tread on those personal.
Hey, I thought everything was talked on this show, Joe. Come on.
Yeah, well, in deference to Mrs. Dr. Prepper, we don't want to make her first experience here on the show to be an uncomfortable one.
No. But she has a really cool line. She told me when I first met her. She goes, "And talk about this one here, or listen to this one." She used to ride horse into town for real and get supplies, just like get out, put the thing around the pole and go in and get the stuff and put it in the saddle bags and ride on back to home. I think it's pretty genuinely cool, really. And I told my city buddies from Detroit, they go, "That's a Barbette win right there. Definitely a Barbette win there." But
I would agree. I totally 100% agree. 100% agree.
So one thing.
No, go right ahead, Wayne.
The one things we do share is first, the Lord Jesus Christ is our Savior. That's our number one thing. But outdoorsmanship, farming, and we'll get to more of this, not just to get into prepping, but how to sustain a farm, no matter what size it is, and both have knowledges on what we're doing with the farm. I'm more the agriculture, planting and stuff. She's got the birds, the chickens, and the beehives. And that's going to be some good stuff I want her to discuss.
And she's a roofer too, I understand.
Yeah, she knows how to do construction work and get on a roof and put metal and stuff like that. So yeah, go
Wonderful.
ahead.
She's a Jill of all trades.
Basically, if there's something that needs to be done, I'm not waiting around for anybody.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, right. And we had a life-altering event in our life last year, which is I'm still healing from physically, which has left me in a lot of physical therapy. Don't need to get into it. I'm just I have the use of one arm right now, so she's picking up. She's picking a lot of the slack on, and she doesn't hesitate. She doesn't hesitate. She knows what I can do, and I can do as much as 3 20-year-olds when I'm healthy. And that's not a brag anymore. And if you're going to do this, Joe, you better be prepared to do the work, no matter how small or how big you have it. So you don't know how to use a shovel, don't get into farming. I mean, we have call it a hobby farm. That's what we would be, 7 acres. So we have 7 acres here. Okay. And we use all of it. Every bit of it. Right now we're logging our forest that we have. So that's a part of the logging. We will end up with probably 5 years of cordwood for our wood stove.
That's a lot more. We'll end up with a lot more.
Yeah,
that's great. That's fantastic. So before I turn everything over to you, sir, Ro, I have. Well, first, before I even get to that, First of all, I love the backdrop. I think you guys did a fantastic job with that. I am really glad to see that we got the lighting situated. I don't know, I'm still red, and yes, I am. I do have red studio lights. Yes, I understand that. But even without the studio lights, I am red. I think I got sunburned working on the grease trap at the day job this week. But it looks fantastic. I love it. I think you got it. You nailed it. And I like the black and the green together. It's something very, very dystopian about that, and I like that.
Add set designer to her entourage.
It's just called camo.
There you go. Now, Ro, I do have a question for you. This is, I hope I don't embarrass you by asking this question. It's a deeply personal question.
Uh-oh.
All right. How come when I tried to make bread last week, the dough came out liquidy? It didn't have a very good consistency, but the week before when I made it, it came out perfect. And I followed exactly every step.
I mean, a recipe is just a guideline. So it's really hard to tell you just based off that information. You would definitely need to be available to add more flour to your dough. And it's all to the touch. So it's just basically just practice and keep doing it. And once you realize what consistency and what the feel is, then you could do it again and again.
Yeah.
But it's just adding flour, adding water. It's trial by error.
And the yeast is important too, because you have to have the right temperature for the yeast in order for it to activate and to rise. But
you did activate the yeast, yes?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so you can tell if the yeast is working just by you put your yeast in its own container with water, a little bit of oil, and some sugar. Okay, mm-hmm. And you're basically letting it activate the oil so you can see the bubbles more clearly. And if it starts to bubble, and basically it will bubble over if you let it. But once it's got a good froth on the top, then you've got good yeast and it's activated.
See, that's what didn't happen last time. Last week when I made the bread, I didn't get that frothy like the week before when I made it. I got that, and that was perfect, and the bread came out great. This time I didn't get that. I let it sit for exactly the same amount of time. I really like. So I know with baking you have to be precise. Mm-hmm. So
to a degree.
I tried to follow the rules. So, but it's all right.
So, did you check the expiration date on your yeast?
Yeah. I had just purchased it, and I forget. It's a little bit down the road, but it's not like today or anything like that. It's fairly good. So
okay. And another way you can store your yeast is in the freezer.
I did not know that.
That will keep it fresher longer.
Okay, I have it in a sealed container in the cupboard right now.
Yeah, it's safer in the freezer.
Okay, well, there's your bread baking tip of the day. Store your yeast in the freezer. Okay.
In other words, Joe, you got to know where you put your yeast.
Yes. And it smells all yeasty when it's ready to go too. Yeah.
But here's a little piece right here. Rosanna's like, oh, I don't know what to talk about. She's got an incredible world of knowledge, and I don't know how to articulate it. Was that not a good lesson right there?
That was a fantastic one.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, when she said about putting in the freezer, I said, I've heard that before too. So she's got a lot of knowledge in culinary and all the different things, baking, home economics, outdoors, and all the stuff you could lead up into prepping, which we'll get to in a little bit. So
you're going to get to it right now, because I'm going to turn everything over to you guys, and I'll be back here momentarily. Mm-hmm. All right. So folks, Dr. and Mrs. Prepper, take it away. See you in a minute.
So as I've talked to Joe before about, we live in a farm. Would be considered a hobby farm, but you got to understand, if you're even with a hobby farm, I still have to plow, 3/4 of an acre just for gardening. And Rosanna can tell you what she's got a really good knowledge of her birds, her chickens. And what I'm really proud of her is we have a local community of chicken people who sell eggs in this area. You see them on the roadsides and what have you. But she's doing a good job in the winter when the people who sell eggs call to buy her eggs because they've ran out of the birds aren't laying. And she's got a really good just knowledge and a feel for what her birds need during the winter. And it's a lot of people overfeed them, and she could talk to you more about it. They think it's the importance of feed, but it's more than that. It's tell them your temperature, light. I mean, the dirt. Like I said myself, I'm big on I've raised chickens here before her, and I'm big on soil. And I have a lot of soil out there. I like to turn the soil over periodically. I just did it the other day because there's a lot of nutrients in the dirt and the worms. And a lot of times I'll put a tarp on an area. When I yank the tarp out, just like little small birds, there's worms in there, which are good proteins and nutrients for these birds, especially in the winter. And sunlight. She puts lights on them, and during the winter keeps them warm and gets them just acclimated to being healthier. And they have more options of food, not just feed. So a lot of people, they feed them with the stuff they get at the farm store. And I said, what did they do 150 years ago? Early 1900s, they didn't have a lot of feed stores. They just might have fed chickens corn, scratch corn. But in general, they scratched and they did dirt and they had grass. And we have some grass areas that I segregate them out during the summer and let them go to one spot and the next spot. And grass is very important for the birds to, good, hardy eggs. And she raises her own birds through her own incubation system. And once in a while, mama hen would lay on it, and she'll let that go the natural way. But she has a healthy flock because she doesn't overmanage it. And she does a great job of that. And she's a beekeeper. So what would you say? You want to talk a little about your bees, because you got a bee person who's interested you to come over to help. And what was he asking? And I didn't get the info. She got her first few jars of honey this year with a comb. There's nothing like it.
Well, I had a friend who was trying to introduce a queen into his hive, but I guess you do that by having a little capsule with the queen in there, and then it's closed. The door is actually a little marshmallow type thing. And when you put that in a hive, typically the workers they feed the queen, and the workers try to eat through that marshmallow to get the queen out. And usually by the time the queen is out, they are all acclimated and they're friends. But his hive was not feeding the queen or allowing the queen to get out or helping eat through that marshmallow. So the queen would die, and he did that twice. So I have a feeling, and I will know on Monday, but I have a feeling that his queen is still alive. So he doesn't need a new queen. And, just in most houses, only one female needs to be there to rule a roost. Same thing in a beehive, one queen.
And I planted cherry trees, and I don't know how many years ago, but 3 years ago, they grow green leaves and nothing. But in the last 2 years, I should say year and a half, last year, we got about 3 or 4 gallons of cherries, which is actually a lot for this one little tree we had. And Rosanna has noticed from our farm and now down the road, some people's trees are blossoming like never before because the amount of bees that are in this area. And you can tell them about the swarm bees too.
Well, first, the trees are blossoming because some plants need cross-pollination to bloom and to just blossom, the bees do that. They by moving from one flower to another, they cross-pollinate, which is another reason why bees are essential for our humanity, just to even survive. If we didn't have bees, we wouldn't have food, and then we wouldn't have life. So they're imperative. But they do help, and it's nice after a couple of years of cultivating bees it's getting to the point where neighbors come over and notice and comment about their trees, and they're grateful for all the white blooms. So that's pretty exciting to see, just the circle of life and how gardens just help everything.
And the fascinating part of it, depending on which scientific literature you read, some have said without bees, 10 years, 8 years, and we'd be done for because of the incredible work they do. These are the most fascinating creatures on the planet when you start really getting into the detail and the classes. She's working on beekeeping, master beekeeping classes. It's a lot of work. The classes I've gone with her way over my head, but she's doing an incredible job. And she's learned a lot in this past 3 years. And she got her first honeycomb already this year. They're just kind of like cool looking. But honey itself is one of the most, it goes back to, they said they found honey in the pyramids in Egypt, 5,000 years, and it was still edible to a point. And it's amazing how they have their system of hierarchy, how does the word hierarchy, and who's in charge, and how they continuously working, and they have a system. If we work like that, we wouldn't have the problems on this planet. There's no way. The way these bees work together and how they sacrifice, how those worker bees just totally sacrifice for the queen because they know she's the end of the line. If she doesn't produce any more queens, the hive would die right there in that box. And so
if she doesn't produce any more eggs,
right.
But I think the coolest thing about bees is just the circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
If the queen is getting older, if she's getting weak, if she's not laying a good amount of eggs, the worker bees will actually create a supercell, and she will purposely lay a queen egg in it mm-hmm. to surpass her. And then as soon as the new queen emerges, they will fight and she will die, and the next queen will continue. Mm-hmm. And so to just give up like that for the circle of life is amazing.
And for the life of the hive. And the things we're talking about, people, I'll get into the word prepping is, everybody thinks of, dried food and all these different companies get your freeze-dried food and MREs and stuff. But where we take it from is we take our little farm that we have up in the hills up here. And it's not this prepping, storing food, we go at as we grow our food. And we grow more than enough for two of us. And we hunt. We're both deer hunters. And this year we got a great alleyway to hunt some elk. And a really good friend he guarantees elk on the menu this fall. And we go to Michigan for the best deer in the world is corn-fed Michigan whitetail. And it's an incredible atmosphere in the fall, with being with close friends where I grew up, and just the smell of the fall back there and the leaves and everything. And the meat, and Rosanna is not favorable to the black-tail deer out in West. They call it the Western black-tail. And it's a little more gamier, yeah, because those deer are running for their lives from everything. They got all these predators after them, where the Michigan deer are laying around eating corn. These guys are eating, pine cones and whatever they eat up in the mountains. So it's a little wilder taste, but it's still a great, property to have in your freezer. And then in our 3 years of marriage, we've really taken on to going fishing. And we're with the Puget Sound Anglers, which is an incredible club on conservation. What else did we do there in your club there? We do what? Work with the kids?
Well, this is spring, so we have a lot of kids fishing events. So we literally just this morning got done with our fourth or fifth kids fishing event, mm-hmm. Teaching kids how to fish under 14.
And so it's one of those movies where you see the movie where she's done, she waves her head, and then boom, the action starts. She starts getting her gear together. She's proposed going on a 3-day, listen to this, folks. She's going out to La Push, Washington, which is geographically the farthern western spot in the lower 48 of America. If they put the longitude, latitude line, La Push is the farthest west spot. And it's a beacon of halibut. And some of the fishermen we're associated with are getting a couple crews out there, and they plan on going with her. I cannot go in the boat because one of my arms is disabled right now, and go out 20, 30 miles. And they go down to 600-700 feet. They got electric reels, and you got some really good gear. So she's taking next week off, even though we have some chores to do on the farm and get some of the firewood going, stacking and what have you. But definitely a good Memorial Day weekend. And once again, leading into not saying prepping, we're going after game. We're going after fish. We love to eat as natural as you can, because I'm a stage 3 cancer survivor. So I'm already taxed my system on certain things. I just really can never eat again, like eating out, like, going to get burgers and stuff like that. It's hard on my system. So even before Rosanna, I mean, she showed up and I showed her my freezer and impressed her being a country girl, and and showed her how to put headphones on, So, but this is our first show, ladies and gentlemen. And so, but no, for real, I really do believe this whole thing of opposites attract, they really don't, at least in my experience. So we do like outdoors, farming, hunting, fishing, but it's the mentality of you have to learn that before you can prep. I will say at the level that I have. In mine, you're talking 45 years of experience of high mountain elk hunting, going up there 2 or 3 weeks. Now, this is where you call the prepping experience. We have to take our own water, our own sanitation, what type of food we're going to have for how many days we're going to have, and fuel. We know how to get back and forth, because some of these places, you're in trouble if you get injured out there. You got to get to a spot and they're going to have to helicopter you out of there. So there's a lot of stuff of preparation. The word preparation is not just being a prepper, but preparation. If you go on a vacation with a family, you got to prep your stuff. How much clothes you're taking, this. And I think the American family sometimes misses that they get that. People got this thing of the bug out bag. Well, I got a bag in my truck. I think my bag is comparable to most people's pantries. I mean, and one of the questions for this show was, what is one of the most important things first in all prepping is water. Now, if I'm going to start with people who, let's say, in a community, let's say apartment people, or maybe studio apartments. Number one factor is space, wherever you're at. Now, we have a nice little piece of space where we can put stuff on our racks, and she cans a lot of stuff we do. Like I can my own beets. She does tomatoes. So we have the shelving for that. Let's say your Joe apartment and you have a 500 square, 600 foot apartment in the studio. Let's go with that. My thing is to find a corner or find just one shelf and get you some water. If you want to go buy your own water for 99 cents, or if you drink a gallon of milk, get water you want, and put the lid on it. And one thing you can get for if you keep water in your own building for a while is go to like Home Depot, even to the pool section. There's water filtration tablets if you're really concerned about that. And maybe, like I said, in power out situations, people go, well, how do I heat this? Well, best answer I can give them, you got a barbecue. I'm telling you, barbecue is an essential piece of equipment. You don't even have to have a big one. We have just a little, what is about 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet, maybe, dear, the little baby barbecue on the back deck with a little, I call them the little Home Depot size propane tanks, which I think anybody, it doesn't cost a lot for those two. So right there, you've got somewhere to cook on, heat your water, and, be sustained for days, because one of those tanks, you're not going to be running it very long, and it's got a lot of time on that. So I will say, if you don't have access to water, start saving your gallon jugs if you want to go that way. I'm not for the buying, when they had COVID, I see people coming out with 12 cases of water. I go, what you can do? You can just refill those things. The lady looked at me. I go, people just probably throw those away. I could live on a case of water and only drink one bottle. How can I do that? After I'm done with the bottle, I go refill it if it's not a power out situation. So I like to refill those for ice too. So there you go. If you do drink bottled water, keep to the side and use it for ice. So, and here's another situation. Power goes out. Now, our big freezers, like you got, like I say, a 20 cubic, keep it closed, not a problem. Your fridge, they say it'd be 3 days before you get power. Get the stuff essentials out of your fridge, like the mayonnaise and the things that maybe cause food poisoning if you're going to keep it longer. If you got ice, the cooler that you got, let's say whatever igloo you got, your beer cooler, stack the ice that you've already frozen that I said to advise to do, and put your food in that, because that food is going to stay cooler longer than your fridge. Your fridge will insulate it long enough, but that way that if you do have to come back and forth in it, that ice is going to keep it colder than you would in the fridge if you had to open it a couple times. If you really need to get the milk for the kids or the juice, use your old beer cooler that puts, the 2 foot long one, but a foot tall, because it's just more essential, and you're not jeopardizing the temperature so much. But water's essential, and that's be number one. So that's the people say, how do I start prepping and what kind of budget? Start small. Start very small. Now, what is the most essential thing? Oh, Wayne, you outdoorsman, man, what would you get number one? A flashlight. A flashlight would be number one, because the daylight's great. Power always seems to go off at night, especially up here in the mountains. I got a flashlight called the Canon, and it's run by a USB, so I can plug it in to my solar power generator and keep that going. And it lights up the whole entire 2 rooms. And so that thing will last for what time I need. And also in a situation at nighttime, you kind of now, you're not gonna be watching TV or doing your games and stuff like that. So you're now condensed of what type of activities. So, okay, power's out for 2 days. Tonight we'll just get through. We have a wood stove. So there's another piece of equipment that some people won't have. So we have heat, not a problem there. We have water, not a problem there. And I have light. So those are the 3 things right there. Now, if you're in a situation where it's in the wintertime, do you got a sleeping bag? I got a sleeping bag, and I was in Michigan at my deer camp, and that thing I was sweltering in. It's a unique bag. Find a bag that's thin, and these double insulated ones, and just camp. You're going to be camping at home. And part of it is just to get through the first night. And when daylight comes, if you're going to work and they have power, maybe on the other side of town or other part of the county or whatever. But the major part of it is how long? 72 hours. And I've worked in catastrophes and disaster organizations for over 25 years. I've gone to floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, and some of the bigger ones is the Joplin tornado, which was the biggest tornado in U.S. history. At least they've measured it to then. And the floods and hurricanes in North Carolina. And Rosanna went with me last January to Florida to help out a disaster there. There were 2 different disasters. One was just terrific. I mean, terrible. It was terrible up in the mountains. Where Florida was mostly just the buildings were taken out. Where in North Carolina it was human loss. That was catastrophic there. And the terrain was so tough in the mud. So, but usually 72 hours, your agencies can get set up. Let's say there's a tornado comes in. Within the next day, your local people can get a shelter going. So, and they've got generators. But till then, maybe you have that, you can't leave the house yet for that first 24 hours. The stuff I'm going to be coming in a future show. So getting down on a really good checklist of what you need. So water, flashlight, some water. If you got the barbecue and the kids want macaroni and cheese, and I'm a big believer on not getting the box macaroni and cheese. Go to your bulk place, or even like I said, most of the grocery stores or a Costco type of warehouse store will sell a big thing of macaroni, and get a block of cheese and melt it. Or they some of the restaurant stores sell the macaroni and cheese powder in a big bulk bag of maybe 16 ounces. But if you want to buy boxes and boxes of the individuals, the stuff that's in them, I'm not too happy with some of the ingredients. And just macaroni and cheese is great. It's a good starch. It's a good carb. And, you can always put in like hot dogs. Kids love hot dogs if you have kids. Or I put in vegetables before. And so I can make a whole type of meal in just one thing. But you can do it even with a barbecue with the water. And it's an easy way of an easy man's meal, cooking it easy with an easy access of what you have at hand. So, yeah. Anything you could add to that, my dear?
Well, I would say a staple, if you want to save on stuff that could last longer and be a whole meal, you've got 2 things: rice and beans.
Good.
You don't need water. You don't need boxes. You don't need any additive. You can boil it, and you can have protein, and you can have your starch. Cultures have lasted on rice and beans for years. centuries. I grew up with it. I grew up with a single father. We had rice and beans a few times a week. And I grew up on a farm. So if you're looking for something that gives you the energy to do everything you need to do on a regular basis, and you only have, a tablespoon or two to eat, it should be something with protein and starch that can give you the strength.
I know with rice, you can put many different flavors, and even if you have some canned vegetables, diced tomatoes is great with rice. You can go with Tabasco sauce if you can take that type of heat. There's other types of rice, Chinese, like there's certain teriyaki sausage you can put in it. And so, I mean, it may be tough with beans, but if you just have rice by itself. And so, great staple for both of them, and get nice big bags of those. And people, she said, have lived on rice, and many single men have lived on macaroni cheese and rice and beans. Many of the single men of America have gotten through with that. And the number one probably single man's luxury is top ramen. Top ramen. You can buy cases of these things, a case of 36 or whatever in them, and I think the warehouse stores sell them, and you just add water because they already have, don't they have the pack in there, the seasoning can come with them. So I've seen guys slipping those things down, and I bet you you got to understand your taste too, that you cannot be picky in a situation where the kids want, the little kids want whatever they're used to, chicken nuggets. We ain't going into McDonald's there. They ain't happening. I'm saying McDonald's ain't got no power either. So top ramen, they got now different flavors for top ramen, I've heard. So, from spicier to mild to teriyaki. So you can at least get a little bit of choice that way. But single man staple it is. So yeah. But you were talking about your bread earlier, and I was thinking about that is, the bread we get is not even close to what people can make, on like, how stuff lasts. I cannot finish a gallon of milk now. She's not the milk drinker. I do make protein shakes. I haven't finished the last 2 gallons of milk. I left about 2 or 3 fingers before it went south on me. So, it's a little tougher for me to drink that. So I've got some powdered milk. I bought this really good brand of really good powdered milk, and I even add it with my protein drink. I can do the protein drink with water because I'm putting this 2 scoops of milk in it, and then put my powder proteins, and my collagen's a good one, and it comes out to be a little bit more creamier than I thought it would be when I first tried it with just water. So, but the thing about 2 things I want to discuss is honey, which you talked about. And there's one thing that I read recently that you could survive on is dates, and it goes back to Moses when he was in the desert. He went out there and lived off of dates. I was reading dates and figs, 2 of the most universal pieces of food properties that has so much in them, in these little pieces of, half an ounce or whatever they are. And I love dates personally. I love figs too. So in fact, there's nothing on the planet I really generally, if it's a natural, I'll eat it, man. I even haven't tried okra dry or, not cooked, but pretty much if it's grown in the United States, I'll pretty much eat it. And I like it. So love spinach. I've actually started making spinach for dessert. And but for prepping, it's going to be a long list of shows to even get going to where you can start to get the mindset. And my number one thing is get a Home Depot bucket with a lid. So right off the bat, you can put your flashlight in there and your batteries. And then you have another flashlight for your nightstand and have that one ready to go. So the flashlight and the batteries are for future. The other one's for right when the power goes off. Then you start putting things in. Like I say, I have my list there actually here, my lovely assistant. So on my list on some of the things I wrote, and she will get to you what I have. Those are the questions. Okay, I will do my.
You didn't say anything about that. I don't know what.
These kids nowadays.
See?
I had her here for 20 minutes. I showed it to her.
No, you did
Why
not.
not? Okay, here we go. Here's the essentials. Guess what rings at number 1 for this list, not Wayne's list? Toilet paper. Okay, there you go.
You want me to laugh at toilet paper?
Yeah, go ahead. Go toilet paper there.
Okay, you can use it. You could use toilet paper, with a leaf. The first thing that I'm gonna get if there's a problem is a knife. I'm not getting toilet paper. And I am a girl. Cleansing wipes. Okay, so that would be good if you needed to take a shower. That's a good supplement for a shower. But I wouldn't be using the cleansing wipes to clean your hands and on a girly thing. Gotta stay clean. I wouldn't be just throwing those away. A whistle, that's important, especially if you have to split up or have a family member go get something. That way, especially for kids, if you give a kid a whistle and they have to go get something or you have to go get something, they can always blow the whistle to help find your way back. I would also maybe have a specific type of, 3 blows or 2 blows or some type of signal that you have prearranged, so you know what that means. Batteries to go with your flashlight. Cash. So having some small bills and change is good if there's stores open.
And a lot of things we add to that. A lot of truck stops in certain areas will have vending machines, actually. So they usually are running anyhow. So there you go.
Hand crank emergency radio, or I'm going to say solar radio.
Okay.
Because they have those available now. A multi-tool is exactly what I was talking about as a knife. Definitely have that. Compass, parachute cord. The reason why it's a parachute cord is because even if they make them into these little bracelets you can wear or a necklace, but you could take them apart and they're really strong and will extend out.
And versatile, like with the blue tarp.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put that on there, but blue tarp would be at my top. It would be in my top 10, a blue tarp, for a lot of different reasons. Let's say you're in a storm and something comes through your window, okay? A branch or whatever. This blue tarp that sucker up, and it's a great replacement for blocking out till, especially at nighttime. Get out there, you got a staple gun, nails, you got the flashlight, a blue tarp, or if there's something dripping, from up above. If you can get up there, you got someone agile to get up there, just get up there and put something heavy if it's not going to blow up. But a blue tarp's very essential for covering a lot of different things. And that's where your parachute cord would come in.
Duct tape.
Handyman's secret weapon.
Mm-hmm. Fishing line and lures, especially if there's a stream or something around that you can fish with, get food from.
Okay.
A saw, and of course a knife.
Next list. Next list. A shovel. What's a shovel good for? Well, many different things. But one thing I should suggest to people, don't use bottled water for your toilet. Use it for drinking. So I heard that people were buying cases of bottled water to flush their toilet. So if it's that important for you, if you're that city slicker, do it. Go ahead if that's how you have to do. But like I said, personally, if you live in a rainy area, I would start collecting water from your downspout or just over from an overhang, and you'd be shocked at how much little water you need to flush your toilet. So, but if you can't, that's what a shovel can come in for, and you can find a part of the property there and dig a hole. And if you have to, a lot of times you can get a plastic bag with a Home Depot bucket. I'm being real too. I mean, sanitation is really important. And if you can't flush your toilet, you don't want to be filling it up. And number one's all go outside, even girls. You got to make a little facility with the blue tarp. Now here comes the blue tarp. You can put a little makeshift potty out there, and heck, you could, like I said, Home Depot bucket with a liner in there, and that's for the ladies, and the guys can go number one, like I said, in the corner of the lot. But number two, it is you got the shovel, put some dirt in the bag, put the bag in the bucket, and do your business, and then put some more shovel dirt over it. I'm talking most of this is just a 1 or 2 day situation, because if you're in an area where a tornado hit, like in Joplin, there was no power for miles in a circular way. I mean, that Joplin tornado was a mile long and 22 miles long. So there's your shovel.
Canteen.
That's a good thing.
Knit cap to keep you warm.
Yep.
A small first aid kit.
Should have one in every house anyhow.
Matches.
Matches are good. Make sure you get a good brand of them. One of the things I like to do is put them into those little, they call these little Zip Fizz. If you buy a Zip Fizz or some little plastic container that has a snap in them, the boxes can get wet. So I like to keep my matches in a covered little tube, or even old prescription bottles. Take the label off. You got a good dry prescription bottle, and stack those things for the matches and a striker in there.
That's the next item. Medications.
Medications, definitely.
And then pet supply or baby items that are needed.
Can't forget about our kids or dogs or animals. Parents and pet parents. Those are just the beginnings essentials of that's preparation for an emergency situation. Like power is going out, and not just power. Power can go out if a limb, like we live up in the mountains, we lose power even during the summer. The windstorm comes in, we still would live with power lines up here, because this is an older area up here. It's a less modern, where a lot of power places in these new communities, it's all underground. But we live with two things: power lines and big trees. I'm talking some of the trees on our property are some of the biggest trees in the country, other than the northern, redwoods in Northern California. We'll get Doug firs in our yard that are 5 feet, 6 feet wide at the trunk. So yeah, the logs we're cutting today are 3.5 to 4 feet at height on edge that we're cutting right now for our firewood. So it's some big machinery that's moving it out, but you're talking about some heavy duty stuff right there. Next, anything else you can think of, dear?
That was the list.
That was the list. Okay. But yeah, the thing is, just get yourself prepared for 24 hours and start small. And you can start very inexpensive too. You go to the $1.50 store. It's now the $1.50 store. That was the $1.25 store, which was the dollar store. So things go up even in China, I guess. And so I've gotten stuff for people to like start with. Like they have those emergency blankets, which I would never use as an emergency blanket. You know what the number one thing I would use for cover in an emergency is a heavy mill garbage bag you get at Home Depot. The thick garbage bags you got. You poke two armholes and a head hole, and you can bake yourself in those things. You can actually have body heat in no time at all, especially if you're in an outdoor situation, maybe in a car wreck and nobody's gotten to you yet. Maybe there's no cell phone service. You can either poke a hole and keep your arms in it, but you'd be shocked that I got several what they call the Department of Transportation bags. You see them on certain states are orange. I have some black ones, and that's one of the major things that can keep you warm like that and dry. If your car would be rolled over and you can't get it back into your car.
The last thing I could think of also too, if you have access to water and you need water, maybe there's a river close by and you're going to boil that water, make sure you boil it for at least 60 seconds and make sure it's actually a roaring boil. So where the bubbles are rapidly reaching the surface, that's a roaring bubble or boil. And so that way you can have clean water to drink when it cools down. Make sure it's at least a minute.
Mm-hmm. This leads me to one of my favorite specialties, little secrets of getting fires started. A little jar of petroleum jelly and cotton. And I keep those in my backpack. one cotton ball smothered in Vaseline or you call petroleum jelly can last up to 15 minutes for good starter kindling going a fire starter. Just getting started, man. We're not even base camp at 5,000 feet yet.
All right.
This young lady's gone up like how many? 10,000 feet? How high have you been up Mount Rainier?
Camp Muir.
How high is that? 9?
It's right before the summit. I don't remember the elevation, but it was really fun.
Rainier's 12,000 feet, so she went up there pretty high.
It's
All
just
right.
like,
Well,
There ain't no city slicker in this girl here.
hey, you guys did a great job, by the way.
You know, it's like there's so much information, Joe. It's this in the way my brain works. It's like I'm just trying to define the word prepper. It's prepared. I like using being prepared. The whole prepper thing it's ran its course. It's ran its course with wackadoo shows that they made up, people looking like crazy. It's all scripted stuff anyhow. You know, the guy with the tinfoil hat stuff. No, be prepared. If you go on a vacation, Joe, with the doggies, do you get their stuff? Do you get their water? Do you have their toys? Do you have the right food?
Exactly.
You're getting prepared to take a trip. Even with your as a pet parent, you're getting prepared for your kids and get in the car and everything's good to go. If you don't, if people just jump in with nothing and start heading down and figure they're going to get by as they go, yeah, I don't know. You can run into some situations that you maybe not be happy, but our truck is always prepared. In her car, I made sure Rosanna has all the things she needs. They get these really cool things now. These instead of flares, they're like an electric flare, looks like a hockey puck. And you can like space it to like flash this, and it's a magnet on the back of your car. So I made sure I got her a first aid kit and a cable bag and this bag. She's really well prepared for anything, and her backpack is ready to go too. And that's just in the car. But the word prepare, I use the word prepared over prepper. I can't use the word prepper anymore because it's been beaten to death.
It has, but you are Dr. Prepper. That's what we're
Yes, I am a Dr. Prepper.
That's all right.
Dr. Prepper.
All right. So what do you got for us? What do you have up for us next Wednesday night?
Well, I'm going to redefine the list a little bit on this like 72 hours on like what is really essential and how to actually start a pantry. Okay. If you started, what is the first things? Yeah, water, but how to do it on a budget. And I'm going to get a list on what is the most, like Rosanna made a great one on rice and beans and macaronis, and they're on there. Pastas, beans, and rice, 3 great elements in a pantry. And I'm going to work on what dried foods, because you got a lot of dried foods, and if you have your water ready to go. But I'm really big on, like I said, get us. I have a huge barbecue, for the, it's charcoal. I got 50 bags of charcoal, 50.
he's not joking.
I got 50 bags. That's the thing. Nothing that he says makes me even doubt for a second that he actually has exactly what he says he has.
This is way back. I was
in
Home
Wayne
Depot
long enough to do that, to know that.
I was in Home Depot. It was at the end of the season. 2 bags of 18-pound bags of not this charcoal Kingsford for $8. That came to $4 a bag. I'll take all 50. I told the guy. All 50. What are you waiting for the apocalypse? No, I'm waiting to survive it. You guys are not going to make it. I'll survive it. Don't worry.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Don't worry. The fires I start, NASA can see.
And like I said, there's nothing that you say that's exaggerated. I will attest to that. So you're all good.
That's because he starts all the fires with the big propane tank.
I have a flamethrower. I got one of these flamethrowers.
I just need the little match.
I got these things. It's like a flamethrower.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have one of those little kitchen torches. I use that.
Yeah. But in all serious, Joe, like I said, I'm going to detail on when I'm getting going here. I actually can use one of my arms now, and we have a kind of week off, and really burning a candle. They say about really we're tapped out. If MMA thing. In fact, Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey tonight at 6:00. I can't wait. And so we're tapped out of just pushing the envelope for everything we've been doing, and we're going to take the week off next week. And I got some PET I got to do on my own, and I will do some homework. And what it is, let's get a pantry set up for your viewers. for everybody, and for animals
too, sir.
Well, yeah, our viewers, but also people got to understand for the elderly, the kids, and our animals. Yeah, right. I mean, what kind of cat food you got? What kind of dog food you got? How much do you have? And the last thing it says, panic. I'm going to do a little spot on panic buying and how to avoid it. And you've seen it 100 times. New York City, grocery stores have run out of whatever.
Yes, I got you. So. All right, brother. Well, we're up against the clock here, so we got to say adios for today. But we will definitely.
New set designer. What a set designer, though.
Fantastic job. Fantastic job. All right, Ro, thank you for being here. Really, really enjoyed having you on the show.
She did a good job.
She did a great job.
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic job, and hopefully we'll see more of you on the Wednesdays with Wayne segments. And we're looking forward to that, especially for next week. I'm curious. I want to see what kind of list you come up with.
Well, and another thing real fast, Joe, I want to see her part 2 on this beehive. She's going to be working with this gentleman.
All right.
We got to understand. I mean, these bees, they pollinate our crops, which pollinates foods to the store.
That's correct. Very important. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll put you backstage and we'll connect there in just a few moments. All right.
Thank you, Joe.
You got it. Thanks.
Have a good week, brother.
You too. All right. Well, what do you think? I thought that was great. Wayne always brings the goods, no matter what. Brings the goods, and I really appreciate that Ro came on the show with him because he talks about her all the time. He always makes some kind of a reference to her all the time, and now you can actually put a face to the name and to the stories that go with that. So. It's great. It was good to have her on the show, and hopefully she'll be able to come back on, especially when Wayne starts doing his own stuff. I mean, that'd be fantastic. We're looking forward to it. All right. Well, folks, again, Wayne brings really good and really important information, something that, we really do need to look at in this day and age. You don't know what is coming around the corner. So make sure that you are getting yourself ready. Make sure you're getting yourself prepared. Make sure you have everything that you need. All right. Special shout-outs to our executive producers, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and, of course, the inestimable Anonymous Angela. Now, if you'd like to find out more about how you can help the show, just head over to the website, joerooz.com/support, joerooz.com/support. Find out all the different ways you can get involved. All right, folks. I think that should be all I've got for you for tonight. Thanks for being here. Keep a steady stride. Good night and goodbye.